Why does Saturn have rings? What are the different types of clouds? How does an octopus swim? Why does a tiger have stripes? How do flowers grow?
Tell Me Why. The Video Encyclopedia is a reference work that's designed to show the answers to questions that young people ask. All materials used in this work are based upon the best-selling book series by Arkady Liokam.
Where do soil and sand come from?
To make real soil, fine particles of rock must have humus added to it. Humus is an organic material that comes from decayed plants and animal bodies. With the help of bacteria, this humus helps make the soil rich. When a solid rock is exposed to the action of the wind, rain, and frost and is broken up into tiny particles, it's called sand. To be sand, each particle must be smaller than 1/500th of an inch in diameter. Quicksand is a light, loose sand that is mixed with water. The grains of this sand are a little different. They are round instead of being angular or sharp. The water gets between the grains and separates and lifts them, so that they tend to flow over one another. Since quicksand contains so much liquid, people can float in it. The important thing is to move slowly to allow it to flow around the body. Once it does this, you can just swim out.
What is erosion?
When rocks are turned to soil and sand, it's called erosion. Water carries bits of dirt into rivers, wind blows bits of dirt and sand through the air, and water currents grind stones against each other. Through this unending process, the surface of the earth is slowly being worn away. This is called erosion.
Why are there so many different kinds of rocks?
Rocks were once molten matter deep in the earth. They've been poured out on the surface or forced into cracks in other rocks. These are called igneous rocks. Other rocks were once in some other form but were changed by heat or pressure. These are called metamorphic rocks. The third kind of rock is called sedimentary, and it's formed by substances laid down in layers.
Tell me about different types of rocks.
Granite is the hard rock that forms much of the Earth's crust. It is one of the igneous or fire-made rocks. Granite is formed for the most part at some depth in the Earth. Granite was formed when hot rock or molten magma was slowly cooled in the Earth. Marble was once limestone or dolomite that's been changed through tremendous pressure. It has many different colors because of small traces of iron and other elements in the original rock. Marble has been used for centuries in the decoration of buildings. The ancient Greeks used marbles for statues. The beautiful statue, the Venus de Milo, was carved from marble from the island of Panos. This island is an excellent source for a white marble. In the United States, marble is quarried in Vermont and Pennsylvania. Although the color varies, the beauty of the stone makes it a leading export of both states. Millions of years ago, fine-grained clay particles settled on the bottoms of lakes and inland seas and formed a soft mud. This later hardened into the mud rock that's called shale. Today, shale is important as a source rock for petroleum. Petroleum engineers have discovered that layers of shale, along with sandstone and limestone, can lead to the discovery of vast amounts of oil reserves. When the Earth's crust shifted and hardened, the layers of shale were folded up into wrinkles. These were flattened and squeezed so hard that they became slate. Slate is used to make blackboards, sinks, drain boards, and it's also used for roofing material.
What are fossils?
Fossils are any hardened remains or traces of plant or animal life of some previous geological period. There are 3 different kinds of fossils. All of them are ancient remainders of life on Earth. The first kind of fossil is part of the actual body of an organism that has been preserved from decay in its original shape. The second kind is a mold of the shape of an organism, which has remained after the organism was removed. The third is a footprint or trail that animals have left in once soft mud or clay. By examining fossils, we can see the types of plants and small insects that once lived on Earth. By comparing them to the growing things around us today, we can learn how living things have adapted to changes in climate.
What is coal?
Coal is the remains of ancient trees and plants that grew in great swampy jungles in warm, moist climates hundreds of millions of years ago. Trees fell into swamps and bacteria changed parts of the wood to gases, leaving a black mixture, mostly carbon. Many years of this action produced a brownish-black mixture of matted twigs, branches, and leaves. This is known as peat. As this mixture aged for millions of years, it became a coal seam. It became many feet thick. In time, the pressure from all of the weight squeezed out most of the moisture, leaving a mass that slowly hardened into coal. Lignite is sometimes called brown coal. It's a little older than peat and has more heating value. Half the lignite mined each year is used as fuel for producing electricity.
What are mountains and volcanoes?
All mountains are the result of violent changes in the Earth's surface, most of which happened millions of years ago. Folded mountains are made by rock layers, squeezed by great pressure. In dome mountains, the rock layers were forced up to make blister-like rounded tops. Block mountains are the result of faults in the Earth's crust. Volcanic mountains are built of lava, ash, and cinders. The highest mountain above ground is Mount Everest, on the Nepal-China border. It is 29,028 feet high. The temperature under the surface of the Earth becomes higher and higher the deeper you go. At a depth of about 20 miles, it is hot enough to melt most rocks. When rocks melt, they expand and need more space. The pressure becomes less under rising mountains, and a reservoir of melted rock may form under them. This material rises along cracks formed by the split. When the pressure in the reservoir is greater than the roof of the rock over it, it bursts forth as a volcano. Liquid underground rock is called magma. Magma is lighter in weight than the colder hard rocks around it. It is slowly pushed upward by the pressure of the rock around it. In many places, the magma never reaches the surface, but slowly cools and hardens underground. If magma does reach the Earth's surface, it is called lava. Lava has a temperature of 2,000 to 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The greatest volcanic eruption in known history took place in the year 1883. On August 27th of that year, the volcano called Krakatoa exploded and destroyed the Pacific island on which it stood. The column of stones, dust, and ashes rose 17 miles into the air. The tidal wave killed 36,000 people, and weather was changed for several years around the world because of the huge dust cloud that circled the globe.
What are elements?
Elements are simple substances that cannot be decomposed or transformed into one another by chemical means. As far as we know, everything in the universe is made up of elements. Scientists have arranged these elements in something called a periodic table. The elements are in numerical order according to their atomic number. That is, the number of protons in the nucleus of each atom in the element. They are also identified by atomic weight. That means the total weight of protons, neutrons, and electrons, although the electrons are so light that they have little bearing on the total weight. Most scientific names are Latin because that was once the official language of learning hundreds of years ago. Because of that, the abbreviations on the periodic table are Latin abbreviations. Gold is represented by the letters AU, which is short for the Latin aurum. Iron becomes Fe, which is short for the word ferrum. Alumin has become Al, which we now call aluminum.
What are the precious metals?
The precious metals are gold, platinum, and silver. Gold occurs in two forms: native, which means it is not combined with other minerals, and in combination with the ores of other metals. Native gold occurs mostly in veins of quartz or in masses of iron pyrites. Gold is often found in the ores of other metals. Silver nearly always contains quantities of gold. Copper ores quite frequently occur in combination with gold. Gold is the most easily worked of all metals. A nugget of gold is easily hammered thin and is flexible enough to bend without breaking. Fool's gold is a common mineral called iron pyrite. This is a yellow mineral with a brilliant luster. It's often mistaken for flakes of real gold. Silver is one of the most widely distributed of all metals. It is usually found combined with other ores. Silver is too soft to be used in its pure state, so it's combined with other metals. Silver coins contain a mixture of silver and copper. Pure silver doesn't tarnish in pure air. When it turns black, that's a sign of sulfur in the air. Silver is the most perfect conductor of electricity and heat and is used in every major industry. Platinum is a metal that is grayish-white in color. It's harder than copper and almost as pliable as gold. You could take a single ounce of platinum and stretch it out into a fine wire that would reach from New York City to New Orleans. Platinum resists oxidation, acids, and heat. The melting point of platinum is about 3,190 degrees Fahrenheit. These metals are considered precious because their supply is limited and because they can be used for so many useful purposes, as well as decoration. There are other important metals that we use in daily living. Quicksilver is a popular name for mercury. Mercury is an unusual metallic element because it is liquid at room temperature. Mercury freezes at minus 38 degrees Fahrenheit and boils at 675 degrees Fahrenheit. It's 13.6 times heavier than water and can usually be found inside of thermometers. Uranium is a metal, an ore, and one of the heaviest elements. Uranium has natural radioactivity. This means that the metal slowly changes by giving off certain alpha, beta, and gamma rays. These rays come out of the atom of the uranium. Copper is a soft metal that is silvery pink. It turns deep red when exposed to the air. Most of the world's copper is found in combination with other substances, from which it must be separated before it can be used. Copper can be carved and etched. It's an excellent conductor for heat and is used to make wires. When combined with other metals, it makes alloys such as bronze and brass. Copper is found in nature in two forms, as native copper and in mineral ores combined with other elements. There are more than 160 known mineral ores that contain copper. Copper was probably one of the first metals ever used by man because it could be found as a pure metal, not mixed with minerals. Nickel is one of the most useful metals known to man. It is silvery, lustrous, hard, but malleable, which means that it can be easily worked and shaped. Most nickel goes into the making of nickel steel, an alloy which can withstand repeated strains. It's used in structural work, locomotive boilers, auto gears, and the curbing part of railroad tracks. Aluminum is a silvery white lustrous metal that is only about 1/3 as heavy as iron. Nearly 8% of the Earth's crust is aluminum. Sapphires, rubies, garnets, and other beautiful gems are compounds of aluminum. Aluminum foil is made of pure aluminum that has been rolled into sheets as thin as 2/10,000ths of an inch. The aluminum foil you use at home resists moisture and gas, is grease-proof, odorless, tasteless, resists corrosion, and reflects heat and shuts out light.
Tell me more about metals.
Magnesium is one of the most amazing metals known to man. It's so light that it's only 2/3 as heavy as aluminum. This makes it the lightest metal used in industry. Magnesium has a tendency to burn, otherwise it is similar to other metals. It has a silvery white luster, is slightly harder than aluminum, and quickly corrodes or wears away in moist air. Iron is one of the most common metallic elements. It's commonly used in industry. Iron is easy to work with and can be refined inexpensively on a large scale. It's used in toasters, fences, and car bodies. Since iron heats so quickly, it is often used in frying pans and ovenware. Another important metal in industry is steel. Steel is almost entirely made of iron, with only a small percentage of carbon and other elements in its composition. Rust is iron oxide. It's created when iron burns by uniting with oxygen dissolved in water. This means that unless there is moisture in the air or water is actually present, rust cannot begin to form. Pewter is an alloy of 4 or 6 parts of tin to 1 part of iron. Pewter has been used for 3 basic purposes: for church vessels, for domestic needs, and in civic functions. You will find that chalices, cups, cooking pots, and drinking vessels are sometimes made of pewter.
What are minerals?
A mineral is any substance that's found in the Earth's crust that doesn't come from a living thing. It's easy to confuse minerals with rocks, but there is a difference. A mineral has a definite composition. The chemical makeup of a mineral is almost always the same, no matter where it is. Rocks, however, are made up of mixtures of several minerals. Asbestos is a Greek word that means inextinguishable or unquenchable. Today, we apply the word asbestos to a group of fibrous minerals which have the ability to resist fire. Asbestos usually contains silicates of lime and magnesia, and sometimes contains iron. Asbestos can withstand temperatures of 2,000 to 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Asphalt is a dark brown to black mineral substance found in the earth in liquid, solid, and partly solid form. It's a natural part of most crude oils. There are 2 kinds of asphalt. Natural asphalt comes from deposits found on or near the surface of the earth, and petroleum asphalt, which is separated from crude oil by modern refining methods. Asphalt is used in paving to hold sand and stone tightly together and to prevent water from entering the pavement. Quartz is a mineral also known as silica. It is made up of silicon and oxygen, and it's harder than steel and clearer than glass. Quartz has a high melting point, and it expands and contracts less than any other known material. Light and radiant heat waves travel through it easily. Quartz is used to make optical instruments and glass. It is used in broadcasting and in laboratories. The word mica is used to describe a whole family of rock-forming minerals, including muscovite, phlogopite, biotite, and lepidolite. All mica form the same kind of crystals. In color, they range from colorless through shades of yellow, green, red, brown, and black. Mica has been used since prehistoric times, but its main value today is as an insulator. Sheets of it are split very thin and glued to cloth. Then the mica is wound into rings for armatures. It is used in stove doors and in oil lamp chimneys. Mica is also an important ingredient in dynamite since it can be a lubricant for soaking up glycerin. Gypsum is a mineral of calcium sulfate in combination with water. One type is translucent, called selenite. Another, which has a special luster, is called alabaster. Gypsum is used as plaster for building homes, making casts for a broken limb, and building movie sets. Talc is the softest mineral known to man. It's made up of tiny flakes of magnesium. When talc is in solid form, it's called soapstone. Soapstone hardens at high temperatures and is used to line furnaces. Talc is used to make paint, glazed tiles, ceramic products, roofing paper, and rubber.
What are some examples of mining?
Metals and minerals are removed from the ground in a process called mining. This can be done in several ways. Open pit mining is done when the ore lies close enough to the surface that it can be gotten inexpensively. Large sections of earth are scooped out and the ores are plucked from the walls of the hole. Some open pit mines are a mile deep as the miners follow seams of ore. Underground mines are developed where the ore body lies at a depth too great for open pit operations. This is an expensive type of mining because heavy equipment and breathing apparatus are necessary for the safety of the miners. Strip mining is done when the ore is scattered loosely over a small area. Huge sections of land are removed a layer at a time. Then the earth and rock are fed into special machinery that separates the ore. Placer mining is done when the ore, usually gold or silver, is lying along stream beds. Heavy streams of water are directed at riverbanks, and the loosened mud and gravel are forced into strainers where the ore is extracted.
What is a stalactite? stalactite.
An icicle of stone on the ceiling is called a stalactite. It forms in limestone, which is a soft rock that can be dissolved by a very weak acid. This acid comes from rainwater. 1 million years ago, a single drop of rainwater clung to the ceiling of a cave. The water dripped and a tiny ring of lime crystallized on the ceiling. A second drop, a third, a fourth, and a fifth left lime in the same place. As the years passed, these rings of lime formed a little stone icicle. Many people think that chalk is a mineral. It isn't. Chalk was originally an animal. A little one-celled animal that lives in the ocean is called Foraminifera. The shells of these tiny animals are made of lime. When these animals die, their shells sink to the floor of the ocean. Millions of years later, a large layer of these shells builds up. It gradually becomes cemented and compressed into a soft limestone, which we call chalk.
What are gems?
When minerals are better, rarer, clearer, or more crystalline than others, they're called gems. Gems are the most prized and famous of all minerals. Diamonds, emeralds, rubies, and sapphires stand out as the true gems. Diamonds were formed by being squeezed together. This happened about 100 million years ago. The Earth was in its early cooling stage, and a mass of liquid rock beneath the ground was subjected to extreme heat and pressure. One of the results was that certain chemical combinations were formed. One of these was a highly crystallized carbon, what we call a diamond. A diamond is the hardest substance known to man. A rough diamond is dull. Most diamonds are sawed in two, and each half is shaped and cut into a round form. This is called a brilliant. Little facets are cut into the diamond. Diamonds have a high refractive power, which means that they bend light entering them. This bent light is reflected back into the stone. This makes it look brilliant and fiery. The diamonds that are offered in jewelry vary in color and quality. They occur in all colors of the rainbow. Some colors are rarer than others. Another factor is purity. Diamonds may show defects from the size of a pinpoint to that of a large flaw. Inferior grades of diamonds are used to make grinding wheels to sharpen tools, grind lenses, and make drills.
What are emeralds?
The emerald is a variety of beryl and is one of the softest of the precious gems. The finest emeralds are presently obtained from mines in Colombia. There are emerald deposits in South Africa, Russia, Austria, and even in North Carolina. Aquamarines are light blue-green forms of beryl. Star sapphires are a form of alumina and reflect light in a six-point star, as do a few other minerals. Topaz are minerals of granites and other igneous rocks. They're found in crystal form and are usually yellow, brown, or pink. Garnets are a common member of the silicate mineral group. Quartz gems are known as semi-precious stones. They are transparent and include the fire opal, the precious opal, the amethyst, and the smoky quartz. Moonstone is albite with a bluish sheen. Lapis lazuli is a rock rich in lazurite. It is highly revered in the Far East. Obsidian is volcanic in origin and has been used for thousands of years in the production of arrowheads and primitive cutting tools. Turquoise is a copper and aluminum phosphate mineral that is common in the western United States.
What are birthstones?
Early civilizations believed that precious gems had strange and mysterious powers. These ideas are preserved in the custom of wearing a birthstone for the month in which one was born. In America, the traditional birthstones are January, the garnet. February claims the lovely amethyst. March enjoys the aquamarine. April flaunts the diamond. May luxuriates in the emerald. June shimmers with the pearl. July radiates with the lush ruby. August brags about the peridot. September shines with a multicolored selection of the sapphire. October glistens with the opal. November warms under the influence of the topaz, and December is coolly special with the turquoise.
What is jade?
Jade can be either of two separate minerals. jadeite, or nephrite. Jadeite is harder than nephrite and has a translucent glow. Pure jade is white, but mineral impurities can make jade yellow, red, or green. Jade is a tough, hard stone. It's difficult to carve, so gritty materials are rubbed over the surface until it wears away. An intricate carving, a specialty with the ancient Chinese, could take many years to be brought to perfection with fine detail covering each side.
Where do pearls come from?
Pearls come from oysters. As the oyster swims along the bottom of the ocean, a grain of sand might become embedded in its soft interior. Since this is painful for the oyster, it begins to build a shell around the sand to ease the irritation. This shell becomes a pearl, one of the loveliest items used to make jewelry. For thousands of years, pearls could only be gathered with luck. People hunted oysters in hope that they might find a pearl of great quality. Now oysters are grown in farms, and the irritating sand is inserted into each one so that pearls will be harvested with regularity. Most pearls come from the Orient, and the price of pearls on the world market is tied to the value of the Japanese yen. The biggest pearl found so far is 2 inches long and 4 inches around. It's called the Hope Pearl and weighs 1,800 grains. Other large pearls are the Shah Sophie's pearl at 513 grains and the Laringente pearl, 346 grains.
A wide range of subjects are available in this series now. Let's look at some of the questions that are covered in the Tell Me Why programs. Weather.
A tornado is a special kind of cyclone. It arises when conditions that cause ordinary thunderstorms are unusually violent. There is an updraft of air. There are winds blowing it.
Flowers.
A flower has a fragrance when certain essential oils are found in the petals. These oils are produced by the plant as part of its growing process.
Space.
Distances to the stars are so great that a unit for measuring distances was worked out. It's called a light year, and it is the distance that light travels in 1 year.
Water.
Water is a simple compound of 2 gases, hydrogen, a very light gas, and oxygen, a heavier active gas. When hydrogen is burned in oxygen, water is formed.
Gems.
When minerals are better, rarer, clearer, or more crystalline than others, they are called gems. Gems are the most prized and famous of all minerals. Diamonds, emeralds, rubies, and sapphires stand out as the true gems.
Ask for the additional volumes by subject from your dealer. They're available now.